Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lin. Namaskar. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral talks with his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney in New Delhi. Pacts on critical minerals, uranium signed, goal set to ink trade pact by the end of 2026. Israel reportedly kills 31 Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon. Iran hits targets across the Gulf for the third successive day. Iran's security chief Ali Larijani rules out talks with the US amid escalating strikes. Brent crude futures up 13% to $82.37 a barrel before retreating to 8.2% up at $78.87 a barrel. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday held talks with his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney in New Delhi. Both leaders reviewed the progress achieved till date across diverse areas of the India-Canada strategic partnership, building on their earlier meetings in Kananaskis in June of 2022 and Johannesburg in November of 2025. The leaders also took stock of ongoing cooperation in key pillars including trade and investment, energy, critical minerals, agriculture, education, research and innovation, and people-to-people ties. They also exchanged views on regional and global developments. India and Canada have increased engagement across all sectors with MOUs on critical minerals, terms of reference for comprehensive economic partnership as well. And the Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand and External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar, they exchanged documents of the MOUs on promoting the use of renewable energy and cultural cooperation. Canada also announced its decision to join the International Solar Alliance and the Global Biofuel Alliance, further aligning with India's clean energy initiatives. In civil nuclear cooperation, the leaders said they would also explore collaboration on small modular reactors and advanced reactor technologies. On the current situation in West Asia, Narendra Modi said that India has consistently called for maintaining peace and stability.
विश्व में चल रहे अनेक तनावों को लेकर भारत की सोच स्पष्ट ही है। हमने सदैव शांति और स्थिरता बनाए रखने का आह्वान किया है और जब दो लोकतंत्र साथ खड़े होते हैं तो शांति की आवाज और भी सशक्त हो जाती है। पश्चिम एशिया की वर्तमान स्थिति हमारे लिए गहरी चिंता का विषय है। भारत डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी के माध्यम से सभी विवादों का समाधान का समर्थन करता है। इस क्षेत्र में मौजूद सभी भारतीय नागरिकों की सुरक्षा के लिए हम सभी देशों के साथ मिलकर काम करते रहेंगे।
Later, Prime Minister Modi and the Canadian Prime Minister Carney attended the India-Canada Chief Executive Officers Forum in New Delhi, engaging with chief executive officers to elevate the bilateral trade to $50 billion and to finalize the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, and also collaborate on clean energy, artificial intelligence, critical minerals and infrastructure. In his address at the India-Canada CEO Forum, the Prime Minister Modi, urged for deepening ties beyond capitals, for linking provinces and states to get true prosperity.
हमारी साझेदारी केवल नेशनल कैपिटल तक सीमित नहीं रहनी चाहिए। हमें इसे स्टेट्स और प्रोविंसेस तक ले जाना होगा। अल्बर्टा के नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज को गुजरात और राजस्थान के रिन्यूएबल एम्बिशंस से जोड़ना होगा। ओंटारियो की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्ट्रेंथ को तमिलनाडु और महाराष्ट्र के इंडस्ट्रियल क्लस्टर्स के साथ मिलाना होगा। मॉन्ट्रियल के टेक इकोसिस्टम को बेंगलुरु और हैदराबाद के इनोवेशन हब्स के साथ इंटीग्रेट करना होगा। तभी हम इस साझेदारी को पॉलिसी से प्रॉस्पेरिटी में बदल पाएंगे।
The conflict in West Asia is widening as the US, Israel and Iran continue to exchange strikes across multiple fronts. Israel on Monday said that it had launched offensive airstrikes against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. The footage released by the Israeli army showed strikes on Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon in an offensive campaign against them. In Kuwait, black smoke was also seen rising from the US embassy on Monday, and the US military said that Kuwaiti air defenses mistakenly shot down 3 US F-15 fighter jets flying in Iran-related operations. All 6 crew members have safely been recovered and they are in a stable condition. Israel said that it is striking at the heart of Tehran and is launching attacks on Lebanon after the militant group Hezbollah said it had launched rockets and drones at Israel. The Israeli military told residents of about 50 towns and villages in Lebanon to evacuate, warning of further strikes against Hezbollah militants. Saudi Arabia on Monday shut its Ras Tanura refinery after it was hit by a drone on the third day of the strikes. The refinery was shut as a precautionary measure after 2 drones were intercepted at the facility and the debris causing a limited fire with no casualties reported. So the Ras Tanura complex on the kingdom's Gulf Coast, it houses one of West Asia's largest refineries with a capacity of 550,000 barrels per day and serves as a critical export terminal for Saudi crude. Air raid sirens echoed across Israel, including Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, early on Monday morning after the Israeli military reported missile launches from Iran. The escalation comes a day after Israel carried out fresh airstrikes on Tehran following the killing of Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. In response, Iran launched multiple missile barrages, triggering alerts across the country, with residents seen rushing to shelters amid fears of further strikes. And Ali Larijani, the powerful head of Tehran's Supreme National Security Council on Monday, stressed that Iran will not negotiate with the United States. In a post on social media, Larijani, he denied media reports that Iran officials, they had sought to initiate talks with the Trump administration following a wave of US-Israeli strikes on Iran over the weekend, which came after Tehran and Washington held nuclear negotiations. Earlier, Trump, in fact, had claimed that Iran's new leadership wanted to talk to him and that he had agreed. In a video statement, the US President Donald Trump said that combat operations in Iran are continuing and will carry on until all of Washington's objectives are achieved. Trump confirmed this in a video posted on Truth Social that 3 US service members had been killed and said that there would likely be more casualties, vowing to avenge all American deaths.
The United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved.
As the conflict entered its third day on Monday, Trump said 48 Iranian leaders had been killed and that the US military had started sinking Iran's navy, destroying 9 Iranian warships so far and going after the rest. An overnight drone strike hit Britain's Royal Air Force base at Akroti, Akrotiri, which is in Cyprus, that caused limited damage with no casualties reported. The Cyprus President Nikos Christodoulis said that the Shahid-type unmanned aerial vehicle had crashed into the military facilities around midnight, and he clarified that his country does not participate in any way and does not intend to be a part of any military operation.
We find ourselves in a region of particular geopolitical instability with a lot of challenges and problems, which is experiencing an unprecedented crisis. I want to be clear, our country is not participating in any way and does not intend to be part of any military operation. We remain committed to the humanitarian role we have served throughout this time, always as part of the solution and not the problem.
The UN nuclear watchdog head, Rafael Grossi, on Monday said that efforts to contact the Iranian nuclear regulatory authorities continue with no response so far. Opening a special session on Iran of the Board of Governors of the International Atomic Energy Agency, he urged utmost restraint in military operations, citing risks to nuclear reactors amid Israeli-US strikes and retaliatory Iran missile attacks.
Efforts to contact the Iranian nuclear regulatory authorities through the IEC continue with no response so far. Arab Emirates has 4 operating nuclear reactors. Jordan and Syria have operational nuclear research reactors. Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia have also been attacked. These countries all use nuclear applications of some sort or the other. We therefore urge utmost restraint in all military operations.
Air travel across the West and including across West Asia is, and beyond that, in fact, has been thrown into turmoil as escalating tensions have led to widespread airspace closures, also flight cancellations and route diversions. Governments and airlines worldwide are issuing guidance to travelers while attempting to safeguard civilians and aviation operations. The crisis, rooted in the ongoing US-Israel-Iran conflict, has quickly evolved into not only a geopolitical flashpoint but also a major logistical and economic shock to global mobility. Meanwhile, in India, flight disruptions to and from the West Asia have also significantly impacted operations in several airports, and in fact, key regional airspaces remain closed amid the US-Israel-Iran conflict. Now it's the 3rd day. Still to come here on DD India Live. INSV Kondini is flagged into the Mumbai harbour after maiden Oman voyage. Flagged into there. Nepal's election is the campaign there enters its final day with polling on Thursday. Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Mark Lynn. In a press briefing, the Ministry of External Affairs, the Secretary East, P. Kumaran, highlighted the wide-ranging and constructive discussions between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney where they reaffirmed their shared commitment to rebuilding strategic trust and anchoring the relationship in mutual respect, sovereignty, and democratic values. Take a listen.
Earlier today, the Prime Ministers held wide-ranging and constructive discussions. They reaffirmed their shared commitment to rebuild strategic trust, strengthen institutional cooperation, and anchor the relationship in mutual respect, sovereignty, and democratic values. The leaders' joint statement articulates a structured vision for the renewed India-Canada strategic partnership, anchored in the guiding principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future. In that sense, the joint statement provides a long-term framework, political, economic, technological, and strategic, to guide bilateral engagement over the coming decade.
Amid the recent conflict in West Asia, oil prices have soared as well as stocks fallen across the world, including in Asia on Monday, and oil prices surged 9%. Brent crude futures had risen 13% to $82.37 a barrel, but they did come down after that marginally. Meanwhile, equity markets also across Asia sank. In Japan, the benchmark Nikkei 225, it was down 1.35%. Taiwan's stock exchange capitalization weighted stock index had also declined by about 0.9%, and US futures were down more than 1%. Shanghai had edged up and Sydney was flat, while the strikes, they have ramped up geopolitical worries. Gold has climbed 2%, and the impact has also affected India with the stock markets here, the benchmark indices, which is the Sensex and the Nifty. They continued to trade with deep cuts during the afternoon trading session. The Sensex was down 1.2% at 80,238. The Nifty was down 312 points at 24,865. Rising geopolitical tensions involving the US, Iran, and Israel. They are driving a sharp uptick in gold, silver, and crude prices, and investors seek safe havens and brace for possible supply disruptions. Analysts warn of continued market volatility, and some say that silver is expected to outperform gold amid the supply conditions and as well as shifting global trade dynamics.
Overall, we have seen gold, silver prices has moved very sharply in today's session as geopolitical tension again arise. We have seen multiple targeted action has been taken on Iran, and on the reply side, Iran has also taken an action against neighboring countries, and because of that geopolitical tension or uncertainty index has gained, and resultant that we have seen gold, silver, crude are trading with a very strong move in today on MCX domestic market, where gold is up by around 3.5% up, which is trading near to 1,67,000, whereas silver is up by more than 4%, trading near to 2,94,000 level mark. Crude is up by 8%, that is very closer to 6,600 level. But overall, looking to this uncertainty, we expect gold might retest the new high on COMEX, which is 5,600 level mark, and for silver maybe a jump towards 110 level. On domestic side, definitely rupee weakness is going to be very severe, because up till now we have importing crude oil prices from Iran and Russia, but because of US sanction we have moved thoroughly towards US also. US is making sure that crude prices should stay in lower, but I think there is a technical breakout and uncertainty is there. Because of that, maybe Brent can test around 82 to 85 level mark, which will definitely pinch on Indian market.
SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket from Florida's Cape Canaveral on Sunday night, sending 29 Starlink satellites into low Earth orbit as part of the Starlink 1041 mission. The first stage separated as planned and landed on the Just Read the Instructions drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean, marking the booster's 26th flight, as well as another successful recovery for the company, that is. The second stage ignited to carry the satellite into orbit. SpaceX later confirmed the satellites were successfully deployed, completing the 22nd Starlink mission of the year. The Indian naval vessel Kondinya was ceremonially flagged into the Mumbai harbour by the Minister of State for Defence, Sanjay Seth, on Monday. The flag-in ceremony, it signified the culmination of INSV Kondinya's historic journey to the Sultanate of Oman and also her return passage across the Arabian Sea, reaffirming India's enduring maritime heritage and also the centuries-old linkages that India has with Oman across the Indian Ocean. The INSV Kondinya is a traditionally constructed stitched ship, and it's built entirely using ancient Indian techniques in which wooden planks are hand stitched together with coir rope and sealed with natural resins. So this vessel represents a revival of India's rich maritime craftsmanship, and it also reflects the nation's commitment to rediscovering and preserving its traditional knowledge systems.
For me personally, this journey carries a special meaning. I was first shown the image of an Ajanta painting sail ship for reconstruction in December 2021. From that moment to tracing down the traditional artisans, working on the design with Holi innovation and model testing with IIT Madras, overseeing the construction and finally sailing on her across the open ocean, it has been an incredible journey and a privilege that I will always cherish.
And moving on, Nepal's election campaign has entered its final day with the rival parties making the last push. This is a tightly contested race. The Himalayan Republic is going to elect a new parliament on Thursday, replacing the interim government that has led the country since September of 2025. There was an uprising in September 2025. Sushila Karki was, in fact, she is serving as an interim prime minister until March 5th vote. And she said that the election will draw the future of the country. So among the key candidates is KP Sharma Oli. Now, he's 74 years old. The Marxist leader is the ousted prime minister. And he faces a high-profile challenge in his home constituency from the former Kathmandu mayor, Balendra Shah, a 35-year-old rapper-turned-politician. So 2 weeks of campaigning have showcased a wave of younger candidates promising to tackle Nepal's woeful economy and challenging veteran politicians. Let's take a look at some other stories making the news. In Himachal Pradesh's Kulu district, Holi demonstrations are in full swing, spanning 40 days of devotion and festivity. At Thaba village's Radha Krishna temple, folk songs, traditional rituals and colorful festivities mark the start of Holashtak. Holashtak. And as the region is preparing to mark this festival on March the 3rd. In Prayagraj, an NGO supporting children and adults with cerebral palsy have hosted a special Holi celebration focused on inclusion and empowerment, and nearly 300 families took part. The children showcased their talents in more than 50 cultural performances, ending the event with a joyful flower petal Holi and also a powerful message of community support and confidence. In Jaipur, artisans are reviving a 30-year-old royal Holi tradition as they handicraft delicate Gulal Gota for this year's Holi celebrations made by the Manihar community in the walled city. These eco-friendly Lakkia balls are filled with natural dry colors and they burst into vibrant clouds on impact. So with rising demand, with this timeless craft, it has once again added heritage hues or colors to the Festival of Colors. In Nepal, Holi is also being celebrated. It's known as Phagu Purnima, and it's being celebrated with enthusiasm across the mountains and the hilly districts, marking the full moon day of the month of Phagun in the lunar calendar. Basantpur Darbar Square in Kathmandu Valley was filled up with foreign tourists who observed and celebrated Holi. Holi, celebrated under different names, remains a vibrant expression of Nepal's ethnic, linguistic and cultural diversity, reinforcing social bonds and communal harmony. That's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app, available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you for being with us on DD India Live. Namaskar.